So let's begin with the definition. What is a ratio? A ratio says how much of one thing there is compared to another thing. We'll look at that in just a second. The other thing that we want to know for our definition is how we write a ratio. All right, and a ratio can really be written in three ways. We can write a ratio in terms of one part and then the word two in between and then the other part. We can write it with a colon in between. So A would be our first thing and we're comparing that to B and we're going to put the colon in between. Or we can write it as a fraction, and if you're writing it as a fraction, it needs to be reduced to lowest form. Let's start with an example. A litter of puppies is born with 7 puppies in total. 5 of the puppies are girls, and 2 of the puppies are boys. So we want to find the ratio of boy puppies to girl puppies. So what we're going to do is we are going to look at the question, and whatever comes first, we're going to use it as our first quantity. So how many boy puppies do we have? All right, so we read back into our problem. It tells us that 2 of the puppies are boy puppies. So I'm going to put a 2 for the boy, and then I'm going to use the colon. And then we want to compare that to the girl puppies. So how many girl puppies did we have? We're told that that is 5. 5 of the puppies are girls. Okay, so we can write our ratio like that. We can also write our ratio to, and then the word to, 5. Or we can write our answer as a fraction, as long as it's in reduced form. Okay, let's try another one with this same example. Okay, it says find the ratio of girl puppies. So how many girl puppies do we have? Again, there are going to be 5 of those. And we want to compare it to the total puppies. So how many puppies were there all together in the litter? We're told that there are 7. So we can write our answer 5 colon 7. We can write our answer 5 to 7. Or we can write our answer as a fraction, 5 over 7. And you don't have to write it in all 3 methods each time you work a problem. So you'll use whichever one you're most comfortable with. All right, so let's continue with a couple of other examples. We have here a picture of 7 fruits. We have 3 oranges, we have 4 strawberries. The first question says, what is the ratio of oranges to strawberries? So because oranges is first, that's going to be the first number that we're going to use. So there are 3 oranges in our picture. And then we're comparing that to strawberries. There are 4 strawberries. So our ratio would be 3 to 4. All right, what is the ratio of strawberries to oranges? So again, start with whatever they give you first. So how many strawberries do we have? That will be 4. And then how many oranges do we have? That would be 3. So our ratio would be 4 colon 3, or 4 to 3. What is the ratio of oranges to total fruit? So we start with oranges, which would be 3, and we're going to compare that to total fruit. So total, we have 7 fruits. What is the ratio of strawberries to total fruit? So we start with strawberries. There are 4 strawberries. We're comparing to total fruit. There are 7 total fruits. Our next example says identify the requested ratio and write it as a fraction in reduced form. If 12 out of the 35 members of a tour group are senior citizens, what is the ratio of seniors to non-seniors? All right, so we know that 12 out of 35 members of the tour group are senior citizens. Okay, so I'm just going to jot down over here. We know that there are 35 members. And we know that 12 of those are seniors. So that means that the other 23 are non-seniors. All right, do you agree with that? If we have 35 altogether and we know that 12 are seniors, 35 minus 12 would tell me that the other 23 are not seniors. Okay, so let's go back to our question. What is the ratio of seniors? So we want that first. That's going to be 12. And we want to compare that to the non-seniors. So the non-seniors will be 23. And the directions tell us to write our answer as a fraction in reduced form. So 12 over 23 would be our final answer. Our next example says, again, identify the requested ratio and write it as a fraction in reduced form. Tyler completed 12 out of 20 questions on the exam. Okay, so again, I'm just going to come off to the side here and make myself a note that there were 20 questions on the test. We know that Tyler completed 12 of them. So how many did he leave blank? The other 8 are not completed. So now my question says, what is the ratio of completed questions? So that's going to be 12 to non-completed questions. So how many non-completed questions? We said that there were 8. All right, and then they told us to write it as a fraction in reduced form. So we want to keep in mind that 12 and 8 are both going to be divisible by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is going to be 3. 8 divided by 4 is going to be 2. And so our final answer will be 3 over 2. All right, one final example. Identify the requested ratio and write it as a fraction in reduced form. A bag of marbles contains 6 red, 8 yellow, and 4 blue. Find each of the following. So to begin with, we want to do a ratio of red to blue. So how many red? There are 6. How many blue? There are 4. And we want to reduce that fraction. Each of those is divisible by 2. So that fraction will reduce to 3 over 2. Next, we want to do the ratio of blue to yellow. So how many blue? There are 4. And how many yellow? There are 8. We reduce our fraction. Each is divisible by 4. 4 over 8 is the same thing as 1/2. And then finally, we want to do the ratio of yellow to all. So for yellow, there are 8 yellow. And how many marbles are there all together in the bag? So if we add up 6 plus 8 plus 4, we're going to get 18. So we have 8 over 18. That's going to reduce to 4 over 9. And I will say right here that if you have gotten your calculator for the course, your calculator should be able to reduce fractions if that is not something that you're good at. So if you have any questions about how to make your calculator reduce a fraction, send me an email and ask that, and I can point you in the right direction with your specific calculator.